In March, I would never forget, on the 8th of March 2023, that is International Women's Day, was the day these guys reached out to let me know that I was unsuccessful for that role. Better put, guys, in my living room, I wept. I'm not sure I have ever cried that much in my life before. I can't remember anything that had pained me that much before. I wept. I rolled on the floor. I wept. My heart was broken. I was shattered. I felt like, now this is not a good feeling. How is this happening on the International Women's Day? On that day, I posted a picture of myself, my mom, and my daughter. I did a 3 generations picture. I said all the nice and good stuff. I cried really long tears. And the good thing was I was home alone because I think it was a weekday and there was nobody around. So if perhaps you heard my voice, you most likely feel like, what's wrong with this girl? Is she okay? I cried. I rolled on the floor. I cried. And I was telling God that, God, I am not unsuccessful. I can never forget. Guys, this is where the whole stuff gets emotional, because it took me time to shoot this video because I didn't want to go to that place where I had locked up all of this emotion. And so I kept rolling on the floor and I kept telling God that, God, I am not a failure. I am not unsuccessful. Why is this happening to me? I did all I was supposed to do. I put in the work. I prayed. I literally have toiled for this stuff. I have written exams. I've gone for interviews. I have tried to impress these guys. Why is this happening to me? Guys, I recall for the second, I told you there were 2 of the government jobs at first. Then there was a 3rd one. But there were 2 of them at first. The second one, which was the insurance one I spoke to you about, there was a time I can recall when one of the times the guy, one of the interviewers, was asking me a question. I can't remember what the question was, but the question needed me to convince them about something. Guys, I literally had to hold back tears because it just felt like, can't you guys see that I really want this thing? I was like, God, what is it? This is February. I did not start this work when I came to Canada. I did all I was supposed to do. How is it that I am still here and nobody is seeing me? And then the job I am doing is choking. What is happening, guys? And so I rolled on the floor that International Women's Day and I cried to God and I told God that this is too much for me. I don't know why you have left me at this point. I don't know why, but I know that, you will bless the work of our hands. Like, I know you are a just God. So I'm not going to do all of these things with faith and confidence in you, and then I am here and things are not working accordingly. No. I said, I'm your baby girl, God. I will go to the bathroom, I will cry. I would literally be done with work and I would not want to talk to even my husband or my kids. The whole house was on fire. I was irritated with everything. There was nothing good about the morning. I was sad. Are you not seeing me? Why are you letting all of these things happen? Guys, I was still turning out videos for you guys for YouTube. So please be kind to everybody, guys. You don't know what anybody's going through. So I cried and I wiped up my tears and I went to work because that was a work day. So I went back to work and I worked and I sent my husband a message to say, finally, these guys have reached out, but they sent a message saying I was unsuccessful. Now, the painful part aside from the fact that they had said I was unsuccessful was that these guys took literally 5 months. Yeah, about 5, because we're talking about March. So these guys took literally 5 months to tell me I was unsuccessful. Like they could have done it in December and I would have closed that chapter of my life and started the new year on a fresh note. They did not. They could have done that in January. They did not. They literally used 5 months to tell me I'm unsuccessful. So if I had gotten the job at the end of the day, I would have said, oh, the wait was worth the while. Guys, there was nothing to show. They sent me that mail. They did not stop there. Then they sent another mail saying, I did well at the interview. Everything seemed fine, but they did not give me the role, but they put me in, they'll keep my file in view. You did well. We loved everything. There was no problem with what you did. We're not just giving you the role, but we'll keep your file in view. So they sent me that mail. And I was like, God, what kind of test is this? As in, okay, you give your battles to the strongest soldiers. I am not strong. I do not like this. So I didn't even know how to feel about that mail. But a lot of people that say, they've not heard this one before. But luckily for me, I got two of those kind of mails for two different job positions for that government organization. So anyway, that happened and I'm like, what is this? So I kept on working. This was in March. And then March came with its own challenges with my job. And on a very good day, my husband and I sat down and we had to review everything. So it was like, I don't like the fact that you're always unhappy. You don't want to talk to anybody. Literally everything anybody says triggers you. How do we solve this? We cannot lose our home because of your work. And so I told him that I was going to start looking for jobs afresh. Recall that because of the way my work was wired, I had really slowed down the pace in which I was looking for jobs. And then again, I had all of these things I was waiting for. I had a job I was doing. So I had slowed down the pace really, truthfully. So I told him that I was going to pick that up again and I was going to start sending CVs actively. It was going to take me time. It meant that, I had to give time every day into sending out CVs to look for fresh jobs. And I told him that if by March 30th I had not gotten a job, I would resign. Whether I get a job or not, I'm going to leave this job. I am so done. It was good while it lasted. I do not want it to affect every other aspect of my life. Perhaps if I should, detach myself from the job, I'll be able to focus squarely on looking for a new job and, be happy once again. So it was like, that's fine. We can cope with his pay, the house, nothing is going to happen. Hopefully I get a job as quickly as possible. And if that's what's going to make me happy, then so be it. So that was recall that the mark was March 30th. Guys, I hope you're still with me and you're loving this call. If you do, please let me know in the comment section. This is so intense. I'm sorry that this is really long. I really just had to look for a very good day when I'm alone in the house to give you guys the story. Luckily for me, I'm home alone today. So, guys, I started searching for a job, and March 15th, I would not forget, I sent out a couple of CVs. Now, I have seen this job. This was another government organization. I had seen this job advert, and all their adverts are always like furthermart. So they are always so detailed, so voluminous, so scary, and I would look at it and just apply. And so on this particular day, I saw this one that had all the elements of what I had done before in the last place I had worked before I left Nigeria. And so it just felt like, okay, this is good. I sent out my CV. I was too deflated in my emotions that I did not even use the job bank. I just worked on the CV like I would normally do. And I was like, God, I'm actually not in a good place. But because I have told myself that this is what I have to do to be able to get out of where I am now, I'm going to do it. So that was exactly what I did, and sent out a couple of other CVs as well. I recall that that's March 15th. I sent out 3 CVs to different organizations. And so I continued working. So one of the days I got a phone call. I immediately saw the phone call. the name that showed on that number was one of the government organizations I had sent CVs to March 15th. There's a reason why I keep mentioning the date so that you would follow the story. So immediately I saw that number, it immediately clicked that this is a job interview, guy. So I picked up the phone, and as God will have it, it was exactly what I thought it was. So the person, very nice voice on the other end, spoke to me and then told me she was sending me an invitation for an interview and I should check my mail. So she asked for when was my convenient time and all of that. And I think I picked the time that week. And she was like, cool. She's going to send me an email with all the details. Well, not her, the HR of the government organization. And so that was exactly what happened. I got that invitation, that email, and I was so happy. I told my husband, he was not around. I sent a message that these guys have sent me an invitation for an interview and all of that. I had the interview and I think it went well. So that passed. And at the interview that day, they told me I needed to take a test. In my head, I'm like, I'm so done with you guys stressing me with interviews, telling me I have to take tests for 3 hours, like I'm writing an exam, and then I do all of this good stuff and you don't get back to me. I'm so done with all of that. But then I did not say so. So they asked if I was okay with a next day test. I'm like, like you people are rushing. So I'm like, that's cool. So they told me they're going to send it and the normal things, 3 hours, I need to submit within time, blah, 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 blah. So that was how the next day I prepared for the test, and I took a time that would, that was before my shift for that day, before my work shift. So I did the test for 3 hours, guys, because I had done a series of other tests, and the most useful template to me was the same job that rejected me on International Women's Day. So immediately I got this test, I was like, God, is this you? So does it mean that you gave me that job, or you wanted me to do that interview and all of those things and have that experience of it so that I can use it for this? And guess what? This job was even higher in pay than the one I was holding on to. And so that day during the test, I was just happy because it just felt like everything was aligning. So God, you gave me that one that I held on to, that I thought it was my own. You gave it to me just so that I would have the experience which I needed to do this one, which was even a higher pay. Wow. Is that how you are? So I did that and I submitted it. And the long story short was that March 30th, recall that March 30th was the day I said I was going to resign and start actively searching for a new job, to be sure that I don't have to deal with this anymore. I will resign and actively search for a new job. Guys, March 30th was the day my offer letter for the new job came. This is just God. I know that me and God, I know God will look at me like, you this my girl. This type of miracle, one for the books. Like, there are no two types of this miracle. So recall that I had said March 30th, I was going to leave my current job and focus on looking for a new job. So between March 15th and March 30th, 15 days, these guys did interview, these guys did a test, these guys did reference checks, these guys did a police check, and these guys gave me an offer. Guys, that's a March 30th. I was like, oh. I was in the middle of work when that email came. I'm like, no. I'm not saying because, okay, I think earlier that week they had called to negotiate salary and all of those things. So of course I had and they've asked me to do some tests and all of this. So I had the premonition that the work was coming. But the fact that the job came on the 30th of March, it was just like, God, I said, what is this? How best do you write people's stories? So I was so happy. I told my husband, I was like, no, for real. This is da, da, da. Told my friends as well. Everybody was happy. Everybody was elated. Like, no. So guess what, guys? I did not resign. Of course, now there was now an end date, right? So I knew that this job, I'm going to leave it, right? So, but I did not. There was no need for that rush to resign because I had gotten a new job. So I did not resign. I kept on working with my previous employer till I was ready to resign, and then I resigned, and of course gave my notice I would give to be able to join the job which I now do currently, which I have been doing for a couple of months now, which is also a government job with a better pay, with better perks, with everything good. Like, God is a storyteller. The twists and turns that led me to this place. Canadian job market is ghetto, guys. I looked at the pay, I looked at the perks, I looked at everything I had to do, and I'm like, you can't make this kind of things up. You can't make this stuff. It has God factor written all over it. Like, what in the world is this? It's not the best job, because the best is yet to come. I have always said that success is a journey, it is not a destination. So I am not saying all of this to feel like I have arrived. It's the worst I will ever be by the grace of God. And so, yeah, that's the job. That's my job story. God has been faithful. If you have gotten to this point, I want to give you a thumbs up, and I want you to say thank you, Jesus, on my behalf. Please leave that thank you, Jesus comment in the comment section. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's how I got the job. God is faithful, and it does not mean that you should not join all of these pre-arrival services. They are good. I believe that all the skills and all the learnings I have taken from that phase has been useful to me, both in my job search, both for my interviews, both for my tests, and even now that I currently work. It also, so I want you to not be discouraged. Please take it. It's useful for you. The fact that it did not work well for me as I had expected doesn't mean that that's your story as well. For all we know, in my job, your story might just be different, and you might just be able to use it to get a good job. And yeah, what else is the learning for me is to trust God, is to keep praying. God answers prayers, because I prayed for a work from home job and God gave it to me. I can't even deny God gave me that work from home because I prayed for it. I got what I prayed for. And yeah, when I was dissatisfied as well, I had to take steps. Even though I could not see beyond what I was seeing, I had to, in faith, say, you know what, I'm going to cut this out. It is no longer working for me, and start afresh. Start looking for new jobs and see where that leads me. God is in the story, and He's still writing the story, and yeah, He takes all the glory for this one. All right. So thank you very much for sticking with us till this point. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's been, wow, I can't believe we've been talking for over how many hours? Wow. Over an hour, 30 minutes. It's been a really, really long video, and I'm going to make it into 2 parts. I hope you've watched the first part. If you are just coming to watch the second part, please do well to go back to watch the first part. It is such an interesting introduction, or it gives the basis for all we have discussed in this second part. I will also be sharing with you every other details. Now that I have introduced this job part, I'll share other details with you. This is an introduction to other things I'll be sharing with you concerning the job market, as well as the workplace culture and everything in that space. I'm happy to be your career guide in that instance and in that regard. And if you have any question for me, please leave it in the chat box. I'll be on the lookout for these, and I would answer as much as possible. If don't be discouraged, don't lose faith, and don't keep putting in the work. God honors our work, guys. God honors. He sees it. He's a just God. And yes, if you enjoyed what you watched, please leave me a comment in the comment section. Ensure you like, subscribe, share this video with a friend, recommend our channel. Please do not watch alone. Recommend to people. Ensure that you're subscribing. ensure you tell one or two people about the channel, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Love. Bye.